Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. The power of silver. And that power can be represented by a sort of a monarchy, per se, the king of monies. And kingship in this case can be represented by this cat that you see before you, representing the lion, the king of the jungle. Indeed. Well, how is silver the king of money? And how is that translated into power? Well, it's been used as money for thousands of years. I posted a video before about the history of silver as money, but what you see represented around, adorned around the soft teak and cuddly kitty, are bars and rounds of various different forms of silver. And you'll notice here that there are no coins per se, but nonetheless, you are seeing the representation of the metal itself and how that metal can be transformed and shaped in various different ways, and has been for so long, even before silver was used as money. But silver eventually became recognized as the de facto standard that everyone used for thousands of years. As you know, silver has been used as a form of money up until really the very recent history. Here in the United States, that history of silver as money stopped at 1964 was the last year that we had silver being used as money as the standard. Now, from 1965 to 1969, there were half dollars that had a little bit of silver in them, but that was our only debasement period where there was still a little bit of silver left. We abandoned it. But that's very recent history, because it was in 700 BC when in Lydia, what is now modern-day Turkey, where they used silver as money. Now, why am I not talking about gold? Because gold is also money for sure, but it was used more with the elites. Gold is so valuable that that most of the common folks did not use it for transactions, day-to-day transactions. Silver was valuable enough that it could be used almost solely for most daily transactions, and that's what gives silver its power as money for all these years. And then you may ask yourself, well, what about now? Silver's not being used as money now. We have a totally fiat-designated system throughout the entire world. No nation on earth is using silver as a foundation or a basis for money. But even now, we in this community understand the value of silver regardless of price, and we also see it in so many different forms and taking on a new role since the industrial age as being a commodity that is useful for the biomedical field, for industry and science and technology. It's fascinating. Silver truly is, and on the role that it's taken in that regards. However, in my view, that doesn't necessarily perpetuate the total power that silver has or can have in our lives yet once again. In the stage of cryptocurrencies, and as we move closer to a cashless society, which I believe we will get there someday, I believe that a lot of folks in this community and among lay people think that there's no way that we can implement silver again as a strategy or as money. You know, it's interesting that when you look back through American history, that the founders, when they wrote the Constitution, they said in Article 1, Section 10, that no state in the Union shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. That's right, gold and silver. And remember, gold is the metal of money for the elites, and silver is the metal of money for the masses. but both can be used in conjunction, obviously. The Coinage Act of 1792 defined the dollar in terms of silver, specifically 0.77 ounces thereof, in harmony with the Spanish milled dollar. And so the foundation of U.S. currency, considering that the dollar was that standard, really was silver and not gold. But however, as we know, gold coins were also minted during the time, especially after the gold rush. There were actually $1 gold coins minted, but they were very, very tiny and really, for all intents and purposes, rather impractical. So the $2.50, the $5, and the $10 coins were the probably the most used, and then the $20 coin being the largest denomination, used very rarely for common transactions, understandably so. But nonetheless, the use of silver and the recognition thereof, its power, is in its discipline of the system. It gave us a sense of a guarding against the inflationary rates and abuse that could have been done or that may have taken place. This is why they were in the Constitution. It provided a way for a sort of a firewall against abusing the dollar as it has been defined in the Constitution. So silver was that foundation being used as money for the masses. And by the way, I will even go on to say that not only was it used as a money for the masses, but also for the elite. The elite needed to purchase these things as well, so they had to have some silver to make those purchases, indeed. So just as we were to hold on to these metals, in this community, and for those who do acquire these as hedges and protection as savings, we understand the power of silver. But what about in the future? What about in this digital age? What's going to happen to silver? Is it antiquated? Is it old? Is it outdated? There's a lot more silver out there now. That might be a good thing, actually, that they've discovered a lot more silver and mined a lot more as a byproduct of gold, copper, nickel, and other metals, and its use in so many different things these days in industry, and how nowadays it takes less silver to do some of the same things that it could have done even 10 years ago. So what happens? What would occur in a society today where we use debit cards, we use blockchain, we use all this technology for transactions? Well, my view is if you can find a system to have a silver-backed cryptocurrency, and I've actually covered that topic on this channel, then that might be the solution. Because if you have a foundation of a backing of a metallic standard, a bimetallic standard in this country, again, it doesn't matter what technology you use because you have the physical to back it up. Now, as is the case with any system, no matter what it is, there's always the propensity to abuse it. And we see that, obviously, with the ETF markets. We believe that there's a lot more paper or electronic silver or gold than there are the metals themselves. And that would be the case, would probably be the case as well if silver was to be the foundation for money in years to come. But at the same time, at least it's a step in the right direction, to step back in the constitutional direction in this country, and to standards that were used in every country, every industrialized country around the world, or any superpower, any empire throughout history. You look at the history of money, and it's always enveloped with silver. And so let's keep our eyes wide open. Let's be alert that potentially one day we could actually get there if people were smart and if we were honest with ourselves. So there you have it, the power of silver. Shaking hands with the future, we shall. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to y'all for watching. Post your thoughts below, and I would like to encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.